All right, so there are so many reasons why products can be rejected or why an export consignment can be rejected. And I know that we are going to be sharing a practical experience, but I can just tantalize you. I can assure you that outside quality, your product can be rejected for price. You might have agreed a price at the onset, and sometimes you want to tinker with the price. Your product can be rejected because you did not meet the agreed delivery timeline. If, for example, it's not the importer's problem that your vessel went to transship somewhere in the Mediterranean and didn't get to you on time. You didn't deliver. Your product can be rejected because of bad packaging or bad labeling, inadequate language, inadequate explanation, and so many other things. Today's program is focused as just sharing the experience, first of somebody who has suffered it and who, because of that, is now on top of the game when it comes to product presentation and consignment delivery. We have brought in a second expert who spent over 30 years doing nothing but advising people on enhancing export trade. So we, on behalf of the technical team again, I want to welcome you all. And I hope that those who have stayed with us have been getting value from these monthly meetings. And we continue to strive to bring you value, as you will see as we go on. I don't want to let any cat out of any bag yet, but you will see in October and November and then in future editions that really this is where to be at 5 p.m. on a Saturday, on the first Saturday of every month. Once again, welcome, and I wish us all very useful 1.5 hours together today. Thank you.
So today, as he already said, we are having two great people with us, Mrs. Elizabeth O. Nwankwo, and also Mr. Abdullahi Sidi Aliyu. We are starting with Mrs. Elizabeth O. Nwankwo, a very strong woman who is a Nigerian businesswoman and active exporter. She's an embodiment of rugged determination, having faced and conquered several challenges exporting from Nigeria. She has over 20 years experience in international trade. She is a major player in Nigeria's importation and exportation industry. Her company, Oklan Best Foods, exports processed food products like ginger and other spices, orange, fleshed sweet potatoes, yam, shea butter, African black soap, and cashew. She also specializes in the importation of machinery and equipment for food processing and packaging. To see her full bio, we share the link that you can check where you can see her full bio. If you want to go through her full bio, we are not going to finish the program today, I can assure you. This is a very strong, powerful woman that has been able to weather the storm of import and export from Nigeria especially. I welcome Mrs. Nwankwo to please share her experience with us. Welcome, ma'am.
Okay, thank you very much for the invite. And thank you, Mr. Boyede. I can't thank you enough as I call you Prof. You've always displayed a level of cerebral that is unequal in the export and imports in Nigerian context. And I'm sure there are a lot of people, Mr. Sedu, I also need to say thank you, I appreciate you. And every other person, let me stand on the existing protocol so that we can do justice to the topic on ground today. I would like to go straight because I was told I have just 20 minutes. And within that 20 minutes, I want to look at what is obtainable in the industry in terms of exportation rejection and the news that we received recently. Let me share my slide, even though very small, just to keep us together while I'm talking. But I'll continue, I won't wait. What are the possible means of rejection? Like Mr. Boyede said when he was starting, we can start with competitiveness, we can start with delay, which the gridlock can cause. But when we talk about the product itself, the product we are dealing with differ from one to another. We talk about beans, we talk about maize, hibiscus, cashew, cocoa, palm oil, fish, name it all. Each of these products have their own peculiarity, which has to be considered in dealing with them in terms of exportation. We also need to consider the country we are taking them to in our consideration. That would be in terms of packaging, in terms of the weight of the container. If your container is overweight, you'll be charged in US. Even in UK, if you have overweight container, you will be charged. And that will make you to lose your product's money at the end of the day. We want to focus more on our agricultural products, which is, let's say beans. In beans, we have what we call diclovo. The diclovo is a pesticide that is being used to preserve the products. And this diclovo, there is a percentage that is expected to be in the beans. When you exceed that percentage, your beans will be rejected. The Western world that you are exporting to do not understand your level of competence or the information that is available to you before you started your export work. It is your business to know all that entails in that product. Like, just like saying, I'm a doctor, I don't know if I use this syringe, it will hurt my client. Nobody wants to know. If a patient should die out of your hand, out of negligence, you will pay dearly for it. So that is the same way it is in the exportation business. It will be called carelessness, it will be called negligence, it will be called any name, but we need to be more careful with it. So we'll look at them one after the other and say, what are the possible problems that we can run into when we're dealing with XYZ? And that is, we are looking at beans as an instance this afternoon. In the case of beans, as I was saying, the percentage that is expected is 0.01 microgram. Do you see how minute it is? 0.01 microgram. And they were finding 0.3 microgram to 4 microgram in our beans. So they will say it is high pesticide residue. And so when the container gets to the port in any other of those countries, they will take samples. The port has health departments. They will quickly go and check. And once the check-ins are done and you are found wanting, it is over. There is no need for you to imagine what will happen. In our own case, if we take it as a scenario, we were even aware there is what they call rapid alert. This rapid alert comes from Western world to our country here. And really this rapid alert go to Nigerian Agricultural Quarantine Office because it's agricultural produce. They are the one that deals with agricultural produce in that context. So the alert will go to them. It is now for them to disseminate to the public what the other country are saying about our product so that we can manage it together. Because of this information at hand, what we did was before we send beans out, we would take samples of these beans and send it to Kent's laboratory. There is a laboratory called Kent Laboratory in UK. We send it there. They will tell us whether the pesticide is okay or not. If the pesticide is not okay, we are not going to send the beans out. So we did that particular 2015. We tried 20 January, we couldn't get beans that passed. We tried February, it was not going through. They were sending back to us the results that it's not possible for us. Then in May, April, May, we were able to get some that passed. So we did the shipment. We did 3 different containers with other items in it. And on getting there, the first one got there a night to the pronouncement by EU to ban Nigerian beans. So it is not only when your products have defects, you can also be victim of policy. You can also be victim of policy. Remember where we started from, competitiveness. If your price is high, you can be rejected. If there is gridlock and you are delayed, if the gridlock make your product to be damaged in the container, you can be rejected. Now we are talking about policy, and we're also talking about pesticide, that is chemical that is used in preserving, that is post-harvest problem, which is a major problem in Nigeria. We have a lot of post-harvest problem in Nigeria. We fell victim of that policy, and so our products were rejected. The container were moved out, they removed other items, let them go in, the beans were put together, 2 containers were sent back to Nigeria. And that is where the story came out from. So that is beans. In terms of egusi, we have what we call aflatoxin. From all my experiences, I've realized that it's the process that is causing the reject. It is not because we don't have good products in the first instance, but the process of post-harvest, when you harvested, what procedure do you put in place? How do you process it to become the dry egusi? Aflatoxin or mold or mycotoxin will set in the process of drying, and there is still water, moisture. The moisture content, if it's high, it will lead to mold. The mold will lead to aflatoxin or mycotoxin. So these ones comes in every time, and the only way out is that you need to be informed over every product you want to export so that you don't run yourself into that level of error. As the case goes on, let's look at other products that has one thing. The case of aflatoxin can occur in egusi, can occur in maize, can occur in any sesame seed, any of those, even cocoa, it can occur. It can occur in cashew, any product that you have to dry before you can export. You know how we dry things in open air? When you dry things in open air, there is rainfall, all of a sudden, the water will drop on your product, you will pack it together, mold are setting. Mold will set in, and once mold sets in, mold will lead to aflatoxin. Hope I'm understood on that one, because I want to go to another aspect. There is another one in fish. Fish, there's something we call the aromatic hydrocarbon. That is the smoke, the volume of smoke that goes into your fish. It is being tested when the fish gets into the other side, because if the smoke is too high, it can lead to cancer. And the system there takes care of their citizens. So they have to consider what you are bringing in to be sure it's not going to harm their citizens, which is why they will test your product before it goes in. So there is need for us to be well informed about all products that is going in and how to cater for those products so that we don't end up with such problem. And that way we try to make it known to people. We try to speak about it. We try to make sure that there is enough information disseminated or shared information so that other people don't run into the same problem tomorrow. Now let's go to what are the possible solutions. The possible solutions are, one, the process has to be taken care of. I was writing something 2 weeks ago on startup businesses, why they fail. And I said, people don't consider the risk before starting. If you go to any bank and you want to secure loan, the first thing bank will want to do is to look at the risk possible and how to mitigate it. So every business needs to consider the risk that is possible in their business and how to mitigate it so that they don't end up in it. And therefore, whatever produce you want to export, you need to go in to check what are the possible risks that this particular produce is going to exchange with. And you begin to look at how to address it so that at the end of the day, we don't throw our money into the bin. Yes, so at this moment, we are talking about possible solutions. I want to take cocoa and cashew as an instance. If you are to export cocoa and cashew, in cocoa, you need to deploy, that is, they need to shed the pod, the fermentation process, the drying process. If any of this process, any of these critical points is compromised, there's going to be a failure. There's going to be a failure. And therefore, there's need for anybody that is into it to be mindful of the fact that in cracking your pod, what are the knives that you use? What is the environment that you are using? How competent are your workers? How informed are they? There is need for you to sensitize them about the quality of work you are doing and put all that together before you go to fermentation. What are the container you use? Is it a stainless or is it a drum? The whole, the paint drum, which most of our people were using in the past, should be stopped because it will affect it. There will be metal in your produce. From there, go to the drying. The drying should also be mechanized as much as possible, even if it is just solar, by which they create a solar that looks like a house roof. And you can easily collapse the roof when the rain is coming. Once water drops on your dry produce, aflatoxin will set in, unless you take your time to go through it one after the other to make sure that this is properly dried before you export. If you go to, that is for cocoa and cashew. Then in cashew is expected to be graded. It's supposed to be graded into W180, 220, 240, and so on to 320. You cannot mix 180 with 320. It is going to be that you are doing imbalance scale. You are using imbalancing because the price of 180 is different from 240 and so on and so forth. And they expect you to grade it so that they can buy alike. You are supposed to differentiate. If there is color, that is through sorting. You can resolve a lot of problems by sorting. Even in egusi, through sorting, you can resolve a lot of problems. And you can also have a scanner in your own warehouse where you scan your produce so that the infrared can pick the red zone from your egusi or any of your produce, and you can pick it out. That's another way out of the problem. Then we go to palm oil. Palm oil is another one. Some people bleach palm oil in order to make more money. This is very, very, I don't know what to use, but very wicked. So there is what we call FFA, the fatty acid. If it's more than 7%, it will be detected when the test is carried out, and that will make you to lose your market. And I've interviewed the producers at grassroots level, the primary producers, and I discovered some few things in palm oil line. One of the things they believe is that if they leave the palm oil for some days before processing, they get more oil. But when you do that, the FFA go beyond that 5%. When it goes beyond that 5%, there is a problem. So there is a need for us to go back to our primary producers level to educate them. This took a lot of my time working with Edo farmers in order to educate them, to give them reasons why they should not do it the way they were doing before, to let them know the much we are losing by that particular procedure. But you know, the usual thing it will be, my people are eating it, they are not complaining. What's your own? All that whatnot might not be the best way to handle things. But there is a need for us to really pass information around. I will want to stop here so that there will be question and answer as we continue. I hope I've not exceeded my 20 minutes.
Yes, thank you so much.